Button. I'm a junior at CMC. I'll be walking around campus virtually, and how it works for us is I'll be sharing my walking through a slideshow of some beautiful pictures that we have. I encourage you to ask any questions along the way. I'd be happy to provide an answer. So while I'm giving an introduction about myself, I would love if you guys type in the chat what you're interested in majoring in, where you're zooming in from, what grade you're in, and then any activities or hobbies that you're interested in that I could speak more to if we have something like that on campus. So while you're doing that, I'll get started with an introduction. As I said, my name is Brooklyn. I'm a junior on campus. I'm majoring in applied math and economics. I'm a part of the CMS cross-country and track teams on campus, as well as the CMC Student Investment Fund, and a group on campus called Source, which is a nonprofit consulting group. So I'm still involved in most of these activities, but I am currently at home in Irvine, California. So CMC is not on campus right now. I'm really hoping to be back next year for my senior year. So with that, I will share my screen, and then hopefully you guys will have your introductions in the chat. I can read those, and then I'll get started on the tour. Okay, I'll go ahead and get started and then read the messages as they come along in. So I saw we have a potential econ interest as well as sports, so definitely be sure to talk about that. I can talk about that because I'm an econ major, so I know lots about that on campus. So I'll get started. We typically start our tours on what's called the 4th floor of the Kravis Center, which is basically our tallest building on campus, and you can see the campus and the mountains in the background. The number one question I always get on campus is, where are all the classrooms? And you're actually looking at them. So a lot of the classrooms are styled such that when you open the door, you're in just like the outside, because Southern California's, the weather is always so beautiful. So I feel like CMC's kind of architecture is set up so that you can be outside pretty much every day of the year. Sometimes teachers actually will teach their class outside if you're in what's called like a seminar where it's like primarily discussion based instead of writing on the whiteboard. The teacher might just go out there on the green space or on the terrace there and teach a class. So I'm going to start by giving a small history of the Claremont colleges and then talk about why CMC was founded. So the first college added to this 5 undergraduate college consortium in the Claremont colleges was Pomona College, and that was added in 1887. It was designed originally to model a traditional liberal arts college on the East Coast like Amherst or Williams. I would say it offers like the most broad selection of things to study, and it is our largest undergraduate college on campus. Next added was Scripps College during the 1920s. So at that time, Pomona College was an all-men's college, and the 1920s was a time for like increase women's rights and particular getting women into education. So as a result, Scripps College is our all-women's college on campus. And then you'll see that every college after that was pretty much added for some historical reason. So then the next one added to the consortium was Claremont McKenna College. This was right after World War II, when veterans were returning home from World War II. And they had what's called the GI Bill, which essentially allowed them to get a college education after serving their time in the war. So Claremont McKenna was actually originally a men's college, and it was designed to kind of fill the need of giving like men returning from the war an education. And the philosophy was they've had all this real world experience, and they'd love some way to find a way to apply their knowledge to the world. So as a result, CMC's philosophy is learning for the sake of doing, and we very much manifest that in all of our classes to this day. We have a very like hands-on approach to learning, and a lot of times, even if you're in anything from a science to an arts class to a philosophy class or a math class, there'll be an emphasis on how can I use this to apply it to the world around me to solve some sort of world problem. And then the next college added to the consortium was Harvey College. This was during the space race, during an increased need for STEM education. And as a result, Harvey is primarily, like everyone majoring there is in computer science or math or engineering. And then the last one added to the undergraduate consortium was Pitzer College. This was during the civil rights movement, so therefore has like result on, or has an emphasis on like social justice on campus as a part of their curriculum. So what's great about being part of this undergraduate consortium is as a CMC student, I can actually take classes at any one of the 5 undergraduate colleges. So we share a course portal and we share resources. There's cross 5C clubs. But at the same time, every school kind of has their own focus. So CMC's most popular majors are economics, government, I want to say like philosophy is probably pretty up there. Psychology, I believe, is the third one. Regardless of what you're studying, I find that in comparison to other colleges, CMC students are excited about like applying their findings to the world around them. So we are a small school of 1,300 students, but collectively we're over 5,000 students. So what I like about CMC is I love being at a small school, but if I ever want to make it feel like a big school, I can just go off campus and take a class at Pomona, for example, because then I'll see a bunch of people that I have no idea and I've never met before. So you kind of get the benefit of both. So I'll speak a little bit more to the ideal location we're in Claremont, California. So we are close to the mountains. We're close to Joshua Tree, Coachella. We're also on the other side, just an hour drive away from the beaches. It takes me about 50 minutes to drive to campus from my home in Irvine, as well as we're close to Los Angeles and Hollywood. So in addition to the beautiful weather, there is always so much to do off campus. Okay, let me check the chat and see if anyone else introduced themselves. Yes, they did. Okay. Okay, political science, amazing. Okay. Swim, awesome. Undecided. Psychology. Varsity softball. Oh my gosh, so many athletes. Well, student sports are just like my favorite experience about being on campus. Being a student athlete has been absolutely incredible, but I can talk about that later. So I mentioned that one of CMC's philosophies is learning for the sake of doing, and one way this manifests itself is through our 11 research institutes. So this is very unique to CMC and to a small liberal arts college, but starting your freshman year, you have the opportunity to do on-campus research with a professor in a variety of academic disciplines. And actually about 70% of students will do on-campus research by the time they graduate. So you can check out some of the titles on the right. Some of our most popular ones are the Rose Institute for State and Local Government. I know we had someone interested in political science. They actually, like, their research is published and actually influences policy in like Southern California, which is absolutely crazy. I'm a part of the Financial Economics Institute. I've been researching there since my freshman year, and I've been working with finance professors on papers that they're publishing. We also have a Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. The Low Institute of Political Economy. We have one for international studies. For the individual who's interested in psychology, the Kravis Leadership Institute is so cool. We have a whole institute on campus with like professors and everything, with like the emphasis on studying leadership and cultivating leaders. So I've had the opportunity to take many leadership classes on campus and work with different leadership professors. it is honestly amazing. So on campus at CMC, they kind of work on fostering leaders in both the experience sense, but also like give you the academic background about like what makes a good leader. So one of my favorite classes I'm taking right now is like religion in leadership. And every week we study a different like religious leader and like the different like leadership qualities that they possessed. And this week we're on Confucius, and it's really awesome, especially since like I'm not even a literature major or psychology major. I'm a math and economics major, but because I'm here at liberal arts college, I get such like a wide variety of classes to learn about, which takes me right into the next topic, which is the academic experience on campus. So like I said, liberal arts college. So even though I'm like a STEM major, technically, I've had the opportunity to take classes across literature, religion, philosophy, psychology, history, sciences, math, computer science. You basically get to dabble in a lot of different types of classes. So that really excited me when I was applying to college, because I found myself interested in lots of different subjects in high school, and found it hard to pick just one major. And here I feel like I get just like a broad understanding of lots of different classes, and like I feel like I'm never again in my life going to be able to take this many diverse classes. Like I'll never take a philosophy class again. So this is amazing that I get to do this all now here at CMC. So 1/3 of your classes are what's called GE requirements. That's exactly what I was talking about, those different types of classes. They're called general education requirements. 1/3 of your classes will be major requirements, and then 1/3 will be electives. So you've got lots of flexibility to explore things either in or outside your major. Okay, the Cube on campus, just a fun space where you can swipe in with your CMC ID badge, hang out, chill. It's always super warm in there because the sun heats it up. Great place to study or take a nap, honestly. So CMC is like a academically rigorous school, but we do have resources on campus to help students with that. One of them is the Center for Writing and Public Discourse. It's essentially a place where you can work as a student consultant, or a student consultant can work to help you with a particular piece of writing you have. You can book an appointment, go in and have them read it, and then they essentially give you feedback. It kind of parallels the quantitative and computing lab, which is the same exact thing, but just for like people who are taking math and science classes. So there's a tutor for every math class on campus, and it's a student tutor. And you can go in, there's like typically scheduled hours based on when your tutor is available, and you can get help with whatever concept you're learning in that math class, or you can as well like work as a tutor. There's also, in addition to just like the math tutors though, there's like tutors for every class. Like I'm a accounting tutor right now, and I get paid to do that. And I took accounting my sophomore year of college, so then I'm now tutoring like the sophomores and freshmen who are now taking accounting. Okay, another way of kind of like manifesting learning for the sake of doing is the Marian Minor Cook Athenaeum. This is so unique to CMC and such an incredible opportunity. So essentially, it's this dining hall that serves a fancy dinner every night where you can sign up to go completely free to you, and a world-renowned speaker will literally come give a talk on what their subject of focus is. So we've had economists, politicians, professional athletes, novelists. We had, right before we went home to the pandemic, we had, so at the time, like Tara Westover was a big deal because she wrote her memoir, Educated, so CMC had her come and speak. We've had like the UN representative, like the U.S. representative to the like United Nations come and speak. We've had a lot of really cool people speak. It's definitely like one thing I miss most about being on campus. And then, like I said, absolutely free of cost. You can go meet your friends. You can sit with random people and meet new people. You can sit with professors. It's really open to everyone. And then that, in addition to like the food, is absolutely amazing. And then there's a side room of the Athenaeum. You can see the picture in the bottom right-hand corner. It's called Ath Tea. So from 3 to 4 p.m. every day throughout the week, it's open for just like, you can go in and get tea and coffee and free snacks. So a great way to like foster community. I feel like every time I go, I always see a professor or a student I know. So I feel like I've been emphasizing community, and rightfully so, because CMC is so small. I feel like you get to know people in your grade, people outside of your grade, people in the clubs that you're in quite well. And one way this manifests itself for me is when I go to the dining hall, like at lunch. I love seeing like my professors, my friends or whatever. I feel like it starts to feel like a home from very early on when you go to CMC. And I knew that going to a small school was what was good for me. Like my brother went to UCLA, which was like perfect for him because he didn't really need that like small, close environment. Whereas like this is something that I really thrive on. So we do have our CMC dining hall. It's called Cullen's, but you can also actually eat at all the other 5C dining halls. So you can eat at Pitzer, Scripps, Harvey Mudd. Your meal pass kind of like swipes you in for all of them. It's like buffet styled, so you can get all you can eat buffet for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, depending on like how many swipes you purchase. And you like set that up at the beginning of the year. So I was on like the biggest meal plan. It's like 16 swipes. So you get like 16 meals a week. And then the food is also very terrific. I had like a couple dietary restrictions, and they've always been super accommodating to me. And then a couple of fun things is like they'll have like holiday dinners. So they have like a Christmas dinner and a Thanksgiving dinner, and it's not really on Christmas or Thanksgiving, but it's like before then. And they'll like decorate the dining halls, or like if you've ever seen like Harry Potter, how like when the holidays seasons come, they like make the Harry Potter dining hall look like whatever holiday it is. They completely do the same. And like for Christmas, one time they like brought in a band to sing in the dining hall. Super fun. CMC really does a good job of like organizing fun activities on campus. So I'm going to speak to living areas a little bit more, starting with this kind of central area called Mid Quad. There's also two other living areas called South Quad and North Quad, which I'll talk about later. Mid Quad is like, if you think about in terms of social activity on a weekend, North Quad is like the most social. I think the most quiet is South Quad, and then Mid Quad's always just somewhere in the middle. So I lived on Mid Quad my freshman and sophomore year. My freshman year, I lived in a triple. My sophomore year, I lived in a double in Phillips Hall. You can see in the bottom left. I love how everything is so close together. So living in Phillips Hall, it would take me like 5 minutes to walk to cross country practice in the morning, and then like 2 minutes to walk to the dining hall from Phillips Hall. And then sometimes the floors are split up by genders. Other times there's many genders on one floor. Sometimes you have gender-specific bathrooms. Other times you have gender-neutral bathrooms. Lots of flexibility on campus. You can, like if you'd like to like request a single, you pretty much always can get one if you want. And then I did live in a triple in my freshman year. I think that was kind of rare. I feel like most people live in doubles. Yeah. Moving on, the top left corner, you can see some dorm lounges on campus. Great place to hang out and study. A peek inside a dorm, as well as Janie's Kitchen, which is our kitchen on campus. I always get the question, like, is there only one kitchen on campus? And yes, and it's because most people, like, oh, I forgot to mention this. So 90% of students, actually 95% of students live on campus. We have no Greek life. So students are living in dorms, and this means students are primarily eating at the dining hall. But if anyone was ever interested in cooking, I would say like the kitchen's pretty much always free to use it. Another interesting thing about housing on campus is that when you're a freshman, you get placed, it's possible to get placed on every single dorm on campus. And the philosophy behind that is CMC likes to create a community starting day one that you're there freshman year. So instead of like putting freshmen in like one dorm, like a mile away from campus, they try to like integrate it. So you're meeting seniors, you're meeting juniors, you're meeting sophomores from your first day there. So I definitely have had freshmen in my dorms all throughout the years. And I found that when you're in college, it matters less like what grade you're in than in high school. Whereas I feel like in high school, if you were a freshman, you were friends with other freshmen. I'm not sure if it's a CMC thing or just a college thing in general. The older you get, I feel like the friendlier people are to like being friends with people across grades. Another living area on campus is South Quad. These are comprised of 3 towers, with Stark Hall being a substance-free hall on campus. They have an absolutely gorgeous view of the mountains, especially during sunrise and sunset. And they're also super close to the gym. I believe the floors for this one are split up by gender, and then they have gender-specific bathrooms. So chronologically, this doesn't really fit into the same area because this is actually on the other side of campus, but this is North Quad. This is the 3rd area on campus to live. These are kind of modeled like, kind of reminded me of a motel the first time I toured CMC. But North Quad's awesome because people are always playing music. They'll keep their doors open. It's a very like social experience. It's comprised of quads, so it's 4 rooms will share a bathroom, and then there's like upper floors and lower floors. You'll see by like the photo of people sitting out on their blanket. I feel like that's a really good depiction of what CMC looks like. I feel like the atmosphere is very relaxed and people are always having a good time. It's funny because it's very close to where my classes are. So I'll like walk out of an econ class and then I'll hear like people playing music or throwing a Frisbee or throwing a football. So it definitely like makes my academic experience less stressful. I feel like the culture on campus is very, this cliche, but chill. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick pause here. Please feel free to ask me any questions if you have any, or if you prefer to use the chat, I can answer from there too. Okay, looks like no questions. So we're going to move on to Roberts Pavilion, our gym on campus. I know we had lots of people interested in student athletics from the chat, so I'll speak to my experience as a student athlete on campus. So we are the Stags and the Athenas, as you can see by my photo here. The Athena is the women's mascot, and the Stag is the men's mascot. And I believe we have 11 Athena teams and 12 Athena teams and 11 varsity men's teams on campus. And then actually 1/3 of students on CMC campus are student athletes. So the professors are very accommodating to a student athlete schedule. I would say so we are part of what's called CMS, Claremont Mud Scripps. We partner with Harvey Mud and Scripps College to form one team, and then Pomona and Pitzer, PP, they're our biggest rivals. I will say CMS is like a powerhouse of the West Coast in terms of D3 sports. We often will win national championships, and our athletics program is just really phenomenal on campus, to toot my own horn. And then I guess the student athlete experience has been just phenomenal. So when I was picking colleges, I knew that I didn't want to be a D1 runner because I wouldn't have a chance to do all the other fun things I have the chance to do. And also I knew I wanted to put academics first. At the same time, we compete at a really high level, and it's so much fun being on a team. We eat meals together, we have parties together, we get hot chocolate together, we have tea nights on Tuesday. Being on a team has really been phenomenal, and I'm so glad I get to carry my passion of running with me to college. Not having the team and having to not do sports this semester and last semester kind of sucks. It really just shows me how grateful that I am to have had that experience of being a student athlete before COVID hit. And then I see we had a question in the chat, so I will get that one. So I did not receive financial aid, but I do know that our financial aid on campus is quite generous. I think about 50% of our students on campus are on financial aid. I would encourage you to check out our website because I think they have more information on that. I also do know that we have scholarships, we have merit scholarships, and we also have just academic scholarships. And I'll leave it at that. Okay, so some other great photos. Oh, so another thing is, part of our general education requirements on campus requires us to take a PE class, but if you're a varsity athlete, you can waive that. So I never took a PE class, but I have heard that there's really awesome PE classes to take based on like my friends who don't play a sport. So some fun ones are biking or yoga, boxing, there's ping pong, there's running, and I even had a friend who took a sailing class where they drove to Newport Beach every other week and got on sailboats and learned how to sail. Okay, so walking away from Roberts Pavilion and walking up towards, this is your North Quad you're actually looking at here, so the motel style housing I was speaking about. I'm going to talk about more of the social life on campus. So I find that there's always so much to do on campus that sometimes weeks will go by and I'll think to myself, oh my gosh, I haven't left campus. I mean, except for like a cross-country meet or something. But I feel like there's always something fun going on campus. So ASCMC is our student government on campus, and they organize funding for student activities, and our school actually hosts like 5C parties, and same with the other 5C colleges, or like CMC only parties. And these are kind of like really fun events with food and games and typically a theme. So they'll host what's called wedding party, where they'll get like a giant wedding tent, and like there's wedding tables and there's like a wedding cake, and there's a DJ, and everyone pretends it's a wedding by wearing like fancy clothes. There's like Monte Carlo, where they'll bring in like professional poker dealers and like different types of poker games that you get to play, and you get to dress in kind of like that era. And then if you've ever heard of like Lollapalooza, there's something called McKenna Palooza, where they'll bring in a DJ and kind of create like a mosh pit type thing and make it feel like Lollapalooza. So always lots of fun on campus. I mentioned that I'm a part of the CMC Student Investment Fund. This is one activity on campus where I actually get to help invest CMC's endowment, and we have control over $2.6 million of the endowment, and we actually like physically make investment decisions with that money. And then this experience has ultimately shown me that I would like to pursue a career in finance after I graduate. Another fun activity I'll talk about on campus, the College Programming Board is responsible for off-campus activities and off-campus programming, as well as on campus. So they'll plan certain craft nights, movie nights, bring in puppies on campus, but for the off-campus stuff, they'll plan either a hike the mountains or a museum tour in LA, or going to Disneyland. They do that like every year. They go to Angels games, Ducks games, Dodgers games, Laker games, lots of sports games, and this is actually just like all free of charge to a student. All you'd have to do is sign up to participate in one of these like off-campus excursions. I guess one other one I can talk about quickly too is like the outdoor initiative. So we are in such a cool location by the beach and by the mountains. The outdoor initiative will plan trips in Southern California or like the southern west of the United States. And then for those interested in like camping or hiking, this is a really cool club. Okay, so walking up that street here, right here, I'm going to take you to what's called the Bauer Center, and this is where a lot of my econ classes are on campus. But I'm going to use this as an opportunity to talk about the Center for Global Education. So this holds all of our study abroad opportunities on campus. So actually over 50% of students will study abroad during their time at CMC. And there's lots of international locations to choose from, but I will talk specifically about two domestic study abroad programs we have on campus, the Silicon Valley program and the Washington, D.C. program. So the Silicon Valley program is you go live in SF, the Bay Area, for one semester. You take classes with a CMC professor related to tech or business, and you actually work an internship at the same time. And people have worked at Google, Facebook, Handshake, you name it. The Washington, D.C. program is very similar, but it's focused on people, or it's made for people with focuses on policy, economics, government, etc. They take classes with CMC professors that are there living in Washington, D.C. with you, as well as work some internship at the same time. And actually my roommate last year is currently doing the Washington DC program, but like abroad. So, virtual. So she's like living in DC, but her internship is still virtual. So there's like accommodating fun experiences like that, even though we're in a time of a pandemic. Okay, so for those interested in science on campus, our Keck Science Center is a shared resource amongst Claremont McKenna, Pitzer College, and Scripps College. It's located slightly off campus, a couple steps away, right in between Pitzer and CMC, and houses our classes for chemistry, physics, biology, etc. Another resource I'll quickly touch upon is the Care Center on campus. They essentially provide training as well as just like foster community and diversity and inclusion on campus. If we are on campus, I often go there to study because they have free snacks and like sometimes music playing. They'll bring in speakers. It's really just like a great place to like meet people or hang out as well. Walking down kind of this pathway here, one kind of fun tradition I'll touch upon is the fountains on campus. So it's a CMC birthday tradition to get dunked in the fountains. So regardless if you have your phone in your pocket and you're wearing your shoes and fully clothed, it's very common to see, like, you're walking to class and you see someone just absolutely getting dunked in these fountains. So CMC's network is extremely vast and strong. I'll talk about professional opportunities and specifically the Soul Center for Student Opportunity. So I find that people really love their time at CMC, and when they graduate and become alums, they're excited to give back to the current CMC students. CMCers are very open to like networking or helping students get jobs or internships. I worked an internship this fall and winter that I essentially got because I had a connection through a woman who used to run for the CMS cross country team and ended up she works at this private equity firm now and was hiring a fall intern, and she passed along the message to me. Anyway, through a fortunate connection, I was able to get that internship. But there's many other resources on campus that kind of foster this professional development. So there's networking treks that go to LA, SF, New York for various career interests. They also have a resume editing center where essentially you can walk in at any time to the Soul Center with your resume in hand, and they'll provide you feedback. And then they send out weekly emails as well with like different job opportunities. Also, not to forget to mention the different networking opportunities that are on campus. So they'll bring in different firms to come speak or hold sessions. Now that it's virtual, it looks a little different, but when we're on campus, I feel like there's always something to do to get a better understanding of what you want to do after college. And also one thing I'll mention too is the Student Internship Experience Program. So CMC has a program on campus where you can do an unpaid internship during your summer at CMC and receive funding from CMC instead. So it's possible to earn like your salary by maybe going to a company that you really want to work for and say, I'd love to work for you and I'll actually work unpaid and make you like more likely to get an opportunity to work at that company. And then you get funding from CMC instead. Right across kind of the pathway from this is the Hub Grill and Patio. So this is really an awesome place on campus to hang out, meet with people to do a group project. It's open when the dining halls are closed for different meals throughout the day. So you can use what's called Flex on your meal plan card, and it's like CMC money basically to buy food. And I feel like there's always people here just hanging out, having a good time, working on projects together. There's a pool table. I feel like these images do a really good job of showing just like the community. Okay, so we are walking back towards the Office of Admissions. I'm happy to take any questions you have, but before doing so, I will touch upon the things that I've missed and also talk about why I chose CMC. So I guess my story is a little unique. I moved around a lot before my senior year of high school. So by the time I had moved to Irvine, California, it was my third high school in 4 years. So at that time, I had the opportunity to attend a larger high school and a smaller high school, and I realized I really like the small experience. I really like getting to know professors. When I was in high school, I liked getting to know my teachers, and then transfer over to college. I like getting to know my professors. I really liked this small community that CMC offered. Our teacher to student faculty or student to faculty ratio is like 8-1. All of my classes are pretty much under 18 most of the time. I'm in one class this semester that has like 7 kids. My other class has like 14 kids. So it's amazing how well I get to know my peers and professors, and how well they get to know me. So they get to help me like foster my own ideas on certain things. And they know I'm a student athlete and a tour guide, and that means a lot to me. At that time, I had developed an interest in economics when I was graduating high school, and I had heard about CMC as like a fabulous place to study economics, which it totally is. Our resources on campus for studying economics, either in the policy sense or economics and finance sense, are just absolutely phenomenal, like unbeatable, in my opinion. And I've just truly loved every class I've taken on campus. The other thing is being a student athlete. So CMC really did give me the opportunity to do all the things that I loved doing in high school. So I get to be a student as well as an investor or a consultant and an athlete. I really feel like I get to do it all, and I don't think I would have had that opportunity at any other undergraduate college. I really like the emphasis on leadership at CMC. This was always something I was really interested in high school, and then I feel like I'm becoming a better leader, helping those around me become a better leader. Ultimately, CMC's kind of like student experience fosters better leaders for the world, which is something that really, really excited me. And then lastly, it is so beautiful, and students are so happy at CMC. After attending there, I've never thought about going to any other college, and I was so glad that I ended up applying ED2 because I wasn't sure where I wanted to ED1. But overall, I have only the highest things to say about CMC, but of course, this is a process. The decision process is up to you guys. I know my little sister is a senior in high school right now, and she's trying to figure out like what she wants to study and what she likes in a college or what she doesn't like in a college, and I can only imagine how difficult it is for you guys in this situation as either juniors or seniors to like make this decision without being on campus. But that said, I'm going to put my email in the chat, and like if any other questions come up, or if you're curious about like a major or experience on campus, I can connect you with someone who maybe studied politics, for example, or was in swimming. I'd be happy to do that. Are there any music facilities on campus, such as piano practice rooms? So what's interesting is, okay, so to be very blunt, CMC doesn't offer any like music majors, and I would say there's not a lot of like music extracurriculars on campus. I think it's very important to be like upfront about that. But I would say there's like the benefit of the 5 Cs is the shared resources, and I would say there's a lot of music resources on Pomona's campus and on Scripps campus. So I've heard that people take like piano lessons at Scripps, and there's practice rooms at both Pomona and Scripps that you can rent out to play with. We also have, I forgot to mention, for the person who's interested in theater, we have a theater club on campus. We also have musicals and plays that are typically directed by Pomona, but they're like 5C, so you could apply, or you could audition to be in a musical or play. And then a lot of like the theater, the more arts classes, I would say you would take them through another undergraduate, like Pomona or Scripps, instead of CMC. But also, like when I say like, oh, it's off campus, like if you were to go practice piano at Scripps, it would be like a 10-minute walk away. So not even, I would say you probably get there in like 7 minutes. So it's like hardly off campus. Oh yeah, interactions between 5C students are so natural. Like, I have a lot of friends from Harvey Mudd and Scripps because they're my teammates on sports. I think sports is one way that I feel like it feels like there's no divide between the undergraduate colleges because your teammates are like just going to different colleges, but that's okay because you still share meals together, you share experiences together. A lot of times people will take at least one class off campus and have like off campus friends. It's like totally okay to have a friend that goes to a different college. And it's very common. And then are they natural? Yes. Classes, sports, clubs. Oh, I was going to type in my email. That's my name and email. Please write it down. Like I said, if there is something that you feel like I didn't have like the proper background or experience with at CMC to talk about, I would be more than happy to connect you with someone on campus who did have those experiences that you're interested in learning more about.